Hey, what's up, everyone? Corn O'Keefe back yet again with another death battle prediction, and today I'm joined with a bunch of badasses once again. We have Tank Daddy 420, we have Simple Moon, we have Phoenix Wright, possibly CDHB Sage, and possibly a couple other people on down the line. But before I hand the mic over to Phoenix to let him discuss Jake Long, here is a word from our sponsors for today's video, Simple Moon.
Are you tired of the same old dusty bed? Try Simple Bed. It's very relaxing when you have a stressful day of recording. Lay on Simple Bed. Rest best with Simple Bed.
And now on to Phoenix.
Well, now to talk about Jake Long, I'll go over his AP yet again. Another thing for his AP in season one, he started off as while in training, he was like around large building level to possibly Cityblock level from the calcs that will be sent into the description down below. Later on in season two, after a couple training amps, he was able to face a magical shark that had a scepter that was capable of creating entire waves that were calculated to be around multi-continental. Even lowball, this is at least country level at bare minimum. And for speed, he was capable of scaling to his grandfather, who dodged the huntsman's attacks that were calculated to be around 5 times the speed of light. He also kept up with literal shadows that were like inherently the speed of that's inherently FTL or light speed, and he's also capable of outrunning a pseudo black hole, which is which by default would be FTL, further supporting the FTL scaling. And now for his like abilities, he he has like a fire breath. He has resistance against magical attacks and magical fire. He also can fly. He has the ear of the dragon, which can hear from like a giant city block route, a large city block radius. He also has he also has eyes of the dragon, which can like see in the dark and see in blizzards. And ear of the dragon, like I mentioned, like can hear across entire city blocks. He can fly, and also he can create doppelganger illusions to trick opponents. He can put on disguises, and like and also he also has like the skull that he got from the end of the series, which is capable of altering reality and erasing people from existence. This power is around at like a universal plus scale, as he was able to recreate a new parallel world and recreate new timelines as well. That's all for Jake. Actually, not that's not all for Jake. One more thing is like his fighting skill he learned from his father, his grandfather, which is the ways in the Chinese martial arts that he's trained through to the point where he should be the Leonardo of the verse.
Excellent job, Phoenix. And now moving on to Danny. Quick rundown of Danny. As we know, even like early on in the early seasons, right, of Danny Phantom, the series, we've seen Danny literally perform a speed feat, very impressive speed feat at that, as it's actually been consistently calculated to be anywhere from 1 up to 3 times the speed of light, even on the low end of things. And a link to that calc will be in the description below if you're interested in checking it out, of course. Now, obviously, this is early Danny. He gets faster from there. He also keeps up with other characters who have similar feats and even have light speed attacks, per se. Now, moving on over to some higher scaling, there's obviously like somewhat multipliers you could actually throw in there. There's a couple of different ways to go about it, multipliers and what have you. You can actually stack it on Danny, per se, and actually get him higher into like FTL plus, even MFTL plus. And now there's even other characters who he's kept up with who have literally performed similar feats in the MFTL plus ranges. And there's actually a suit too, if you want to give this to Danny. I believe it's just like a one-time thing, but nonetheless, if they choose to give it to him, this would be very impressive because this suit literally grants him MFTL plus scaling and feats. Quite literally, it's very impressive in its own right. Now, in terms of AP, obviously physically, right? Physical AP, he obviously fights characters who have performed feats that have been calced on the low end around large mountain up to the island ranges on the mid end, small country on the high end. Now Danny himself physically, trades blows with these other characters, takes their attacks. Now his ghostly well, on the other hand, can actually get much higher. Now, this is arguable, but there are several calcs that have his ghostly well damaging characters and other entities who have arguably performed solar system up to the multi-solar system level feats, like characters involving, making realms and the size of like solar systems or containing numerous stars, There's obviously calcs I'll leave down below to check them out. And there's obviously universal scaling as well, if you can argue it. There's like the ghost realm, there's other realms that are stated to be infinite in size on certain occasions. There's the reality gauntlet, which can warp reality on that scale, And now whether or not you bring this up for Danny in the death battle, that's fine with me. Whether or not you do, it's on y'all. I'm sure they'll put it up in the tab if they don't vocally mention it. But I figured I'd bring it up because there's obviously multiple scales with these characters. Like, there's obviously multiple ways you can argue it. There's evidence that suggests each way, and obviously it depends on how death battle goes around it. That being said, I'm gonna let Tank Daddy 420 give his thoughts on who he thinks should be taking victory here more often than not.
In my honest opinion, I think Danny Phantom would most likely take the win against Jake. Here's my reasoning. They're both similar in strength, endurance, and speed. Well, not speed, but Danny Phantom once flew over a space shuttle. A normal space shuttle can go to speeds over 17,000 miles per hour. Even if we were to lowball that to the account of the acceleration, he still flew even hundreds or over thousands of speeds over Jake. Let's not forget that Jake is very cocky and underestimates his opponents, which will give him a disadvantage. So overall, at the end of the day, with his speed, manipulation, and possibly even far more greater feats, I predict that Danny Phantom will take this fight and become the winner of this death battle. Back to you, Corin.
Great one, Tank Daddy. Appreciate that. Now, Phoenix, why don't you give your final thoughts?
Okay, it's some of them I agree with. Some of them I agree with Tank Daddy, but I have to disagree with some things he said. For one, the space shuttle feat. I don't get why to mention that when both characters were already established as FTL, and also for also I would have to say that it's not clear cut and dry, I would say, because how Jake is already the more skilled fighter and the better fighter here, and also mentioning Jake being overconfident. So has Danny. Danny has been overconfident several times, and that led to his downfall as well. Many characters got the drop on him because of his overconfidence, and using their overconfidence is pretty an understatement, considering it's just them toying around. In a death battle, they're going to be at their best, which is when they're not going to screw up. Both characters has established this, and for better feats, they're both legit around the same ballpark. Their best feats were saving the world and their own ghost zone. Danny's best feat was saving the ghost zone and the entire planet, and Jake's best feat is saving the entire New York City along with the world, and even another plane of reality such as the magical realm where dragons live. So they're around equal in terms of accomplishments. Jake is the better fighter here due to Danny's lack of formal combat training, and Jake's been training ever since he was young. Also, he was actually trained by a Japanese master, Well, Danny's not even trained, period. He's self-taught. So that while I do agree Danny takes victory in terms of AP and durability, I still say Jake can hold his own, at least better than what most people think.
Well, definitely very respect that dearly, Nick. So, Simple Star, you want to give your final thoughts?
Yeah, basically, yeah, I think the speed isn't like that big of a difference, and Denny has like higher AP, and I think he would just like punch him in the face, and that's it. He has too high of an AP.
Yeah, like for my final thoughts, right? Here's the thing. All right. So it really comes down to what they're going to do in terms of the calcs. Obviously, we laid down the facts in the description in the video. We got the factual calcs, we got the consistency, etc. Again, it's hard to determine, and assume what they're going to do with it. At the end of the day, though, all I can say is I hope both characters get justice. And obviously, if you put them at their best, whoever has the best, scaling at the end of the day at their peaks in death battle is going to take it, simple as that. And with that being said, everyone else made their own points, they gave their thoughts. All I can really say is I hope both characters get justice at the end of the day. It's all I can really say. I hope they both get FTL scaling. Sure, I can hope that because it is consistent for both, right? Like, it is very consistent. And ironically, they both actually have country level calcs as well and higher. So it's like, it's a really close fight. I'll say that for sure. And they each have their own advantages. Like, I don't see how you can argue Danny having more skill than Jake. You know what I mean? But again, if Danny does turn out to be way more powerful and way faster, right, then skill alone won't really matter. Now, if it turns out that they are comparable, they're both around country level, let's say hypothetically, or in FTL, let's say they can keep up with each other, then maybe the skill advantage could play a part. And obviously Danny's haxes, you could bring, obviously they'll play a part in this too, his haxes, and obviously Jake has his own counters, etc. So at the end of the day, I'm cool. I could see an argument being made for either character, right? Hypothetically speaking, it could go either way like that for both characters. I just hope both these beloved characters get justice. You know what I mean? All that being said, hope y'all enjoyed this video for what it was. And Phoenix, end us off.
That's all, folks.